Good evening and welcome to the 10th leg of our championship here at Apex Online Racing, and what a leg it is. After taking a week's break to visit Miami, we stay stateside for our tour of the Circuit of the Americas here in sunny Austin. Before we dive down into the Texas heat for tonight's action though, let's take a look and remind ourselves of how things look in the standings. Jan Fehler came away with their worst finish of the season so far. Still within the points though, but after picking up what McLaren believe was some floor damage during the race, Lucas has managed to gain ground on them after taking the Chquered Flag and their 4th race win of the season. Just 26 points. That's theoretically a single race separating them from the top spot. They've jumped past F1 Racer, who finished just off the podium but ended up on it after the stewards gave Maestro Hoffi a 10-second time penalty for the 3-wide squeeze in lap 20, who, despite all that, still taking home a significant points haul for finishing 5th and bagging the fastest lap. Kev Genetics gets their highest career finish in the top tier after a consistent race and good strategy saw them promoted to 2nd and extends their lead over Maestro Hoffi. Matty pulling away from Persegili after taking home 8 points, and Persegili calling it a day after multiple front wing changes left them 2 laps down. I think I've switched that a little too early. Yes, I have. Galaxy closes the gap to just 2 points. An early spin by Matty, seeing them into the wall and falling down the order, but pulling it back to 9th after a late safety car. A late scrape with the wall cost Crew 6 points. However, Molkian getting their highest finish of the season so far in 4th, jumping 3 places, including Rivershan, who is now consistently finishing within the points. No change anywhere else, as both Tisu and Garrett crashed out. Over in the constructors standings though, the bottom 4 nowhere to be seen in the points table, allowing Mercedes to pull away into a 5-point striking distance of Red Bull. Ferrari not that far ahead either, extending just by a single point. The big winners in Australia though were AlphaTauri, who surged up the standings with a win and a 4th, now just 2 points behind Haas, who themselves are making ground on our current leaders, McLaren. So, with 4 races to go, we set our sights to the Circuit of the Americas, an undulating 5-kilometer track with difficult to master apexes and flowing corners, 10 to the left and 10 to the right, which are all going to be putting our drivers' technical ability to the test as they race wheel to wheel through 28 laps. Keeping the car planted to the ground is going to be key this week, as our drivers will be trying to make the most of the high-speed chicanes and the 2 DRS zones, one down the front straight into the Chquered Flag and one down that back straight out of that hairpin. They'll also be trying to make the most that they can out of that final sector. Now, in terms of strategies tonight, 2 stop strategies look likely. However, I have been informed by some of our researchers that a 1-stop strategy soft to medium is possible tonight if our drivers do play their cards right. As we've seen all too often in this championship, safety cars can make the difference. Very much so. We're just waiting for our drivers to start up. I can see that we have some fans in the crowd tonight. We've got Vernie cheering for Spearwhip. We've got Armin cheering for Dominic. Spearwhip is in the Ferrari tonight, standing in for Garrett, and Dominic in the Alpine, I believe. Unless they've got someone standing in for them. I know we've got one of the Alpine drivers a no-show tonight. I'm just waiting for race director to get everything sorted. and make sure that everything is in order before we head down to qualifying. So yes, a 10-second penalty issued by the stewards. More Ferrari fans in the stands by the look of it. Issued by the stewards to Maestro Hoffi for that 3 wide scrap in lap 20. So that has moved them down from what was second last time we saw the standings to 5th. And of course, we are coming into the back end of our championship here. This is race 10 of 13. After this, we head off to Canada. No, sorry. We head off to the Netherlands for our race at Zandvoort. Then it's Montreal on the 29th before we round the season out on the 5th of June at Interlagos. A big finale coming up at Brazil, and with our top 2 drivers within a single race distance of each other, it could very much go down to the wire this season. It's just me in the commentary box tonight, by the way. Fizzy and Benny are otherwise engaged, so just the dulcet tones of my voice. Whilst I wait for race control to let me into the damn stadium. But there are quite a few fights going on tonight. Obviously, Lucas wanting to make a charge for the top spot. Just 26 points separating them. Let's have another look at the standings quickly. And there we can see, yes, F1 Racer only 5 points behind them. Jake, I wish I could, but we are waiting on our drivers to get ready. We've had a few changes and a few technical issues, so please bear with us whilst we sort those out. But as you can see up there, it is really close battling between the top 3. Then, further down the order, Kev Genetics got a little bit of breathing space, but probably not as much as they'd like. Maestro Hoffi only 10 points behind. Then it's Matty, our Tier 2 champion last season. Currently in 6th. Persegili trailing them by 11 points. Then it's quite the battle for 7th between Persegili and Galaxy. Crucix 12 points further back, and then Nico, who we haven't seen in a while. Well, we haven't seen in a couple of races, I think. We'll see what happens with them, whether or not we will get to see them tonight. Making sure that everything is ready to go for our drivers. Why am I not getting them? Hold on. Okay, I have issues. Hold on, I am dealing with technical issues here. Oh, there we go. That one. Yep. Okay. So, who have we got out there tonight? We have Lucas with a spear width in the Ferrari. Dominic and Davis side by side in the Alpine. HD Storm in the McLaren alongside Failer. Gelbevand and Crucix in the Aston Martin. And it looks like everybody is getting ready to go. And almost a full grid tonight. 20 drivers. 20 people in the lobby, including me, so that's 19 drivers Just one shy. Make sure that... Oh, back up as well. As we prepare to head down to the grid for qualifying here. 18 minutes on the clock for all our drivers to put in the best lap that they can around the US circuit. Does look like everything is ready to go. We have what might be one. Nico is in tonight in the Williams, so it looks like Nico might be making a challenge for it tonight. Molkian in the Alpha Tauri, our mate alongside Matty in the Red Bull as we head on down to the track. Here we are. Circuit of the Americas. I said Circuit of the Americas. There we go. Apologies if things are a little bit up in the air tonight. Just because I have had to sort things slightly last minute. It does look like we've got a full grid of 20. We have Brewer Patassi in the Williams alongside Nico. And it looks like one of the Alpines is going to be first out of the gate. Let's see if we can get on board with them. Have no audio. Okay. You have audio, I don't have audio. There we go. Okay. I can hear things now. This is amazing. So, it looks like Dominic is going to be our first driver to potentially set a lap here. Places to look out for. This hairpin coming up into, well, into the DRS straight, but the funny thing about it is that the detection zone is right before it, so you can make the overtake on the hairpin and then just speed away if you're able to pull that move off. Then into the technical third sector here. A couple of acute turns, followed by that very wide arching turn, which honestly is one of the biggest killers of the tyres on this track. With how much weight you're putting on the left side there. And then it's a 90 degree and an acute left into the line. Let's go on board with Dominic for the first lap. So flat out into turn one, and it's an up and down hairpin as they come into the chicane up to 7th here. This is where quite a few of our drivers might have trouble keeping it within the track limits, and especially up here where the rear really likes to get away from you. Dominic seems to have kept it in line as they come up into the hairpin. Their first sector time, a 25.0, as we see some yellow flags going across the track there. Down the home stretch, DRS wide open, going up to speeds of about 315, 320 kilometers per hour during qualifying. During the race, it's going to be close to 300. A little bit of a flick there from Dominic, but managing to hold it, managing to hold on. 37.3 through Sector 2. into the technical sector. A lot of the crowd baying Dominic too slow. Well, I mean, we'll see what kind of time they put on the board here as they come round the final bend and across the line in a 1:32.5. Definitely beatable by the look of it. A lot of people setting 24.8, in fact. 24.7 from Gelbervan. Let's go with Gelbervan right now. And tag along with them as they're coming out with, wow, what looks like with a vengeance. Maestro Hoffi goes pole with a 1:31.1. Galaxy goes second. It's currently a Haas 1-2, 1:31.5. We're sticking with Gelbervan for now. A Spearwidth goes third, but a full second, 1.3 seconds back from the leading driver right now. Galaxy tucking that in tightly there as they come into the wide left-hander. 2 more turns to go till they get their first time on the board. And coming across the line. Oh, the rear wanting to get away from them there, but 1:31.6 puts them in third. A very respectable time from Gelbervan there. As Crew 6 starts their lap. F1 Racer comes across the line in fourth. HD Storm at the bottom of our list. Matty, however, P2. 4/10 off the pace of the pole at the moment. But sandwiching in nicely between the 2 Haas drivers there. Crew 6 is on a lap right now. We also have Olkian. I think, honestly, Failer is the person to watch around here. 24.9 through Sector 1, 37.1 through Sector 2, and they invalidate it in the final 2 turns. And it would have been a 1:32.2 anyway. Definitely more pace in that car. Looks like Matty is coming in. Let's go to Crew 6 now. He's up towards the front, coming into the last 2 turns here. And invalidates. F1 Racer probably pulling in as well. HD Storm coming in. Let's have a look at the Alfa Romeos. Persegili probably pulling it in this lap. As is Sky Kartoffel. So, who do we have out at the moment? Rivershan has spun it round. Davis is currently on their outlap. Is Jan Failer? Jan Failer is slowing down. They're slowing down. Okay, our timing screen is having some issues here. Failer pulling in. It looks like Dominic's gone out for another lap, and Davis invalidating it through the chicane there. And hopefully going to try and build momentum for another lap. Galaxy is coming out for a second run. Also out for a second run right now. Maestro Hoffi coming out on the mediums, of all things. Maybe just looking to get some more track time in. We have Dominic and... Wow, okay. Board didn't want to decide whether someone was on an outlap or not. So here goes Dominic on their flying lap. We've also got Rupertassi and Davis coming across for their first attempt. Dominic keeping it very clean through the chicane there. And a 24.9 through Sector 1. And that is on pace with Matty, who's currently in P2. Can they keep this up as they come down the back straight? .37.2 through our second sector. Significant drop off in pace for them. And yellow flags are flying as drivers are letting each other by. Let's check in with Rupertassi, who is about to set their first lap. It's a 1:32.4, puts them in 10th in the front runners. Davis has invalidated. Kev Genetics, though. 24.7 through Sector 1, 37.2 through Sector 2. Only a couple of turns to go, and this could be a challenge for the top here. As they come across the line, trying to keep it tight. 32.2. That run wide there really costing them, and they fit snugly in 9th between our mate and Spearwhip. Through 6, setting good pace here as well. 36.7 through Sector 2. Again, it's a long sweeping right-hander. Trying to keep it tight through there is very difficult. And our last couple of turns coming across the line in a 1:31.4. Puts them neatly into second, but not enough to challenge the top spot. Not enough to bother them even. 3/10 still the margin. We have a lot of people going on to flying laps here. And cheers for Gelbavand in the audience. They're currently in 5th, a 1:31.6. Just 0.05 of a second back from Galaxy. Failer about to put their first time on the board. Looking good through the first 2 sectors across the line in 1:31.6, putting them in 7th. They know for a fact there's more time that they can find around this circuit. So with 5 minutes to go, some of our drivers will be finishing up their second run, coming in for a new set, going on their third. And it looks like a Red Bull is coming across the line. That's our mate actually pulling into the pits there. Brusix looks like they're probably going to be coming in. Yes. Have a look at Persegili. Persegili has invalidated their lap, so they're going to be pulling in as well. Who is that towards the front? Looks like it's Rupertassi on an outlap. Lucas retiring from the session. Looks like F1 Racer is starting their next hot lap here. 1:31.3 to improve on. Their first sector time, 24.7. 24.6, the fastest through Sector 1 right now. This isn't going to improve on that. I think they are slowing down. So who do we have out there now? On an outlap is Galaxy. Further ahead, it looks like... No, that's not Dominic. I think we're going to stay with Dominic for now. Might be Nico, actually. No, Nico's just come out for their lap. So, Ruhr-Patassi starting their hot lap, trying to get out of the back of the grid here, realistically. They know they're not going to finish last because they're ahead of Lucas Eduardo, who's pulled out the session. And 2 minutes 30 on the clock here as our drivers start coming out for their final attempts. Meanwhile, very quickly, that. Okay. So, Ruhr-Patassi 24.9 Sector 1, 37.2 Sector 2. All looking slower than their previous times. No real improvement here as they go off! And into the wall. Those tyres aren't going to be good for it. And there's only 1 minute 20 left on the clock. 36 and Gelbavand starting their lap. It looks like Rivershan just starting their hot lap as well. Let's go on board with Galaxy here, who is on a hot lap right now. Doesn't seem to have made much in the way of improvement though. And in fact, seems like they pulled out of it and are going for one final run at it here. Kev Genetics right behind them. Moving up to P5. 30 seconds left on the clock, so we're going to start seeing final laps come out here. Gelbavand onto their final run. Maestro Hoffi taking a short warm-up run as they start their final attempt. 10 seconds on the clock, so a lot of our drivers are going to be racing it. That is not the one I wanted. Red Bull driver Matty, unfortunately not able to topple Maestro Hoffi, and there are some finishing flags coming out. Looks like Krusix went pole. Under the radar. By a tenth. Matty currently P3 by 15 thousandths of a second. Maestro Hoffi not really looking to improve here. Let's go to not Persegili, Skykartoffel, who's about to set their lap. Doesn't look like they're going to be improving, but right behind them, I think pulling into the pit lane, in fact, is Kev Genetics. Coming across the line, though, is Molkian, who goes P14. Ropatassi has waved the flag. Galbavan goes P4 with a 1:31.2. Coming around the corner now, it's Maestro Hoffi, who has invalidated their lap. And it looks like that's all they wrote. No! Baylor, one final chance. Runs wide, but the stewards don't take a look at it. 1:31.6, P9. Persegili, the last on track, with Matty here, who just got in under the gun. Persegili pulling in, Matty pulling in, and I think those are our final standings. Nico not setting a time. We are having... Let me just double check this. As our drivers come into the garage. That looks right. That looks right. That looks right. Molkian, Dominic. I am assuming that's them. Okay. So there are your qualifying results. Crew 6 heading the field in the Aston Martin, followed closely by Maestro Hoffi. Matty missing out by 15 thousandths of a second. Then you have Gelbavand in the Aston finishing the second row. F1 Racer and Kev Genetics in your third row. Then it's Galaxy and Armate putting in a good performance for the Haas there, has to be said. Haas and Red Bull locking horns tonight. Failer in 9th, Persegili in 10th. Then we have Davis and Rivershan with Spearwith and Molkian making row 7. Let's quickly go back here. Whilst we have some of our drivers are restarting their game. They were noticing some issues during that session, so we're just going to give them some time to clear the technical issues. And then Nico not setting a time at all, so they'll be starting at the back of the grid. Lucas in 18th. Lucas has got a lot to do here. And that is them. So, fans of Spearwith in the audience. Thirteenth on the grid, so fairly far forward in the rear pack. Is going to have the free choice of tyre. And it's an interesting one here. As I said at the top of the show, the lab at Pirelli thinks it's a two-stopper. But we've had news from some of our testing crew that it's doable, soft, medium. Not quite sure where, but it's doable. I just quickly need to get something else. Formation lap is getting underway here. Got everything ready. So let's go back down to the track. So Crew 6 and Maestro Hoffi starting 1-2. We are noticing some issues with desync here. We may have to restart the lobby. Waiting to see what the judgment from race control is. Okay. Base control has made the call. We're going to continue as normal. So this will be the official start here. However, we're going to keep an eye out. As much as possible, we try and alleviate any technical issues that we can, but obviously sometimes things are out of our hands. Probably the best way to put it. So we're with Crew 6 whilst the grid lines up. Williams of Nico taking the final grid spot. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away they go. We're on board with Crew 6 here as we come into the hairpin. Maestro Hoffi taking the inside line. The advantage of the grid there playing into their hands. But it does mean they've got the outside for turn 2. And Crew 6 secures that first place again. A little bit of chop and change further back as F1 Racer and R-Mate have a little battle there. Towards the back, Spearwidth, unfortunately coming off a bit of a casualty there, dropping down to 15th and potentially further, battling with Dominic. And there is our first casualty of the track there, Rua Patassi. Looks like they've gone into the wall. And it's a yellow flag in Sector 1. Not enough for a safety car. But a yellow flag nonetheless. R-Mate making the chop and change with their teammate Matty. Nose to bumper through there. Baylor has already picked up a time penalty, so that's going to hamper them severely. Especially if we have a late safety car like last time. Spearwidth moving back up the order into 13th. But Rivershan taking the place back from them. Gelbavand is one to watch as well. Nose to tail with Tier 2 champion Matty as they come across the line for the first time. Of course, DRS is not enabled until their 3rd time round. They're not going to have it on the home stretch either. So it's going to be out of their hairpin on lap 3 that proves critical here. But down the grid, Galaxy looking for an opportunity on Kev Genetics. Again, keeping nose to tail. A very tightly packed bunch all the way back to Nico here. Nico dropping back considerably. car mate considerably dropping time on F1 Racer to the point where they're very much the cork in the bottle right now. And that's Galbavan, they're round. It looks like contact was made. They've managed to recover it, but at what cost? Nico has sustained small amounts of wing damage there as well. I don't know what the condition of Galbavan's car is, but they are clinging on as they fight Dominic. A lot of chop and change there. Nico in 13th. Dominic up to 14th. A spear width pulls into the pits after a spin. I don't know if there's any issue with their front wing. Looks like, yes, looks like a front wing change. That's unfortunate. Spear width, a costly collision there. Matty picking up a time penalty. I don't think that's the last one we're going to see today. So currently up front, Crew 6, closely tailed by Maestro Hoffi as we go into DRS for the first time. That rear wing wide open for Maestro Hoffi, and a lot of time you can gain on this back straight. It's long, there's a lot of open air, and Maestro Hoffi just parks it in front of Crew 6, says no, this is my spot. Further back, Galbavan manages to make up a place on Skykartoffel, and in fact Molkian getting a look in as well. Skykartoffel falling down the order, HD Storm, AMG Nico battling with the Alpine of Dominic, the 13th right now. Got the inside. Nico here opting for the mediums, which isn't going to see them well through some of these corners, especially with how technical these corners can get. Maestro Hoffi setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Don't think that's the end of it there. As we come into the home stretch for the first time, Crew 6 considerably tailing Maestro Hoffi now, 6/10 the gap. F1 Racer 5/10 behind. Closest battle towards the front of the pack is Kev Genetics, who is closing on Persegili. Then it's a second back to Galaxy, so they know that they've got that clean air, but Galaxy is closing that gap and it looks like he's just going to have DRS. Baylor, though. Baylor making the close on Galaxy, going up the inside. Going to try and make a pass around the outside of the chicane? A hairpin? No, it doesn't look like it. Galaxy holding on to the position for now, but that rear wing is open, as we can see. They are pulling away. Galaxy didn't have DRS there by the look of it. So Failer pulls into 8th. Spear width, unfortunately, you can see them. They're quite far back. I'm going to be honest, a safety car is probably their only hope at this point. 26 seconds back from the next driver. And a considerable margin behind the rest of the field. 42 seconds off the front runner, which we are back at now. Maestro Hoffi, Crew 6, running behind them. This front straight isn't as crucial as that back straight out of turn 8, the hairpin. But Crew 6 gaining time, staying well within 4/10 here as they go through the S's. Crew 6, in fact, a full 4/10 gained through that sector alone. As they come through, Rivershan getting a penalty as well. 3 seconds on the board for most of our drivers. And you can see here the soft runners really making the most of the tyre right now. Let's see if Galaxy can pull something back here, because Failer is currently the cork in the bottle from 8th downwards. doesn't manage to make the move, only gets within 3/10, and Nico drops down to 15th as Gelbevand moves up the order. Gelbevand now setting their sights on Dominic here. There is still a full second gap. Rivershan dropping back quite significantly. Lucas Eduardo, though, from 18th to 10th in 4.5 laps. On the medium tyre as well. As they go wheel to wheel with Galaxy down the straight. Both of them with DRS off Failer. Failer up to 8th now, but 2 seconds back from the next car. And Lucas going up the inside. But he's going to give them the outside for turn 2. Oh, and they're rounding into the wall. Both of them are round. Galaxy and Lucas. Galaxy is out. And it is a virtual safety car. Virtual safety car. So our drivers are going to move to 60% of their racing speed. As the yellow flags fly. So Maestro Hoffi up front. Crew 6 in second. Current podium is this. R8 in third. Matty in fourth, so a Red Bull 4-5. So that penalty is going to cost them. Apologies. Here to have the horrendous... my allergies seem to be going off tonight as well. Not going green yet. And then further back we have Persegili in the Alfa Romeo. Then it's Kev Genetics. The orange McLaren of Failer. And a drive-through penalty for Dominic, unfortunately. Due to an issue with their Delta, by the look of it. Rivershan... Sorry, that's not Rivershan. That's Lucas Eduardo pulling into the pits. They've got significant wing damage. And it is going to cost them the 6 laps that they've taken to build to that position. They're opting for the mediums, which means they're going to need to make another stop at least. Lucas Eduardo, it looks like. In fact, Spearwhip might overtake them here. No, sorry. Lucas Eduardo coming out in 17th. Spearwhip behind by about 5 seconds. Dominic getting a 3-second time penalty. And of course has served that drive-through, which has put them down to 16th. Further towards the front, Matty and R8, the battle of the balls. Just 3/10 separating them. Again, taking a nice wide line through those S's there. They come into the home stretch for the 8th time. They've both got DRS up towards the front. It's Crew 6 and Maestro Hoffi battling for the lead. And that looks like Dominic is round. Really unfortunate for the Alpine driver. That has pushed them down into 16th. I wonder what's happened with Jan Failer here. They've pitted. They've pulled into the pits for a set of mediums. Difficult to tell if that was wing damage. Let's go to Gelbevand, who's just been overtaken by Nico. Is going to be fighting for that position back. Coming into the back straight here. really putting the throttle down. 3 tenths down to 2 tenths, taking the inside line. And it looks like they're going to hold. Just about. Slight contact with the rear wheel on the end plate there, but probably not enough to cause severe damage. Now they just need to pull away. Up towards the front. Matty. Oh, F1 Racer is into the pits. Is this where we see the softs pitting for mediums here? Looks like it. They're going to come out probably in 13th here. So Matty currently P3, but of course that 3-second penalty is going to cost them at this point in time. Persagili on the tail of the balls here. Oh, and that's a little bit of a nudge. A little bit of a love tap round the corner from Persagili there on R-Mate. Have they sustained any damage? It doesn't look like it. But that may have, unfortunately, caused them to lose significant amounts of momentum around that corner. It's going to see them sitting in P5 for now. Up towards the front. Maestro Hoffi pulling about a 10th a lap on Crucix. Which, bear in mind, Crucix has DRS here. Kev Genetics making the pass on Persagili quite comfortably as Persagili pulls into the pits. So it looks like this is the point at which our soft tyres are going to start considering coming in for their stop. Either that or Persagili did sustain some wing damage there. And they did. It's a new front wing. That's going to be an extra 7 seconds on that stop. And they're onto the hards, looking to go to the end here. Coming out. Looks like they're going to be coming out just ahead of HD Storm here. So currently it's our top two, Maestro Hoffi and Crucix. And it's quite the gap to R-Mate, who has their teammate, Matty, who has their teammate R-Mate trailing right behind them. And then Kev Genetics. Then it's another large gap to Davis in the Alpine. Bearwhip getting a 3-second time penalty for their troubles. Rivershan, again, quite the considerable gap there. Molkian up the inside of Nico there, wheel to wheel, coming out of the back straight. Nico's going to have the inside for this considerable right-hander. Molkian's not giving up. And look who that is right behind them. F1 Racer just waiting to pounce. Molkian managing to hold on to 8th for now. Up towards the front. R-Mate pulling into the pits, which brings Matty up to 3rd. Kev Genetics also making the stop. Hold on. There we go. Nico nose to tail. F1 Racer, looking for the cheeky double pass, has already made a stop, but is probably going to need to make another one here. But they are on the fresher tyres. That is going to help them out no end. So we are in the pit stop phase for the softs here. But it looks like R-Mate is leading those who have stopped so far. But still to stop up towards the front is Matty, Crucix and Maestro Hoffi, our top 3. Nico's mediums are starting to wear considerably. It looks like they've just gone out of their optimal range. Kartoffel and Malkian around them are going to be feeling the same though. Same amount of laps on those mediums. Maestro Hoffi pulling into the pit, which puts Crucix into the lead. Possibly looking to get the undercut here, Maestro Hoffi. Davis moves up to P2, having spent 11 laps on the mediums. Then it's Rivershan, F1 racer. Maestro Hoffi comes out in 5th, just ahead of Malkian, like 2/10 ahead of Malkian, which means Malkian's going to have DRS this time round. Hopefully the audio is working well enough, because mine cut out there. Maestro Hoffi pulling away, and in fact pulling a significant distance. Not enough to stop Malkian having DRS down the back straight here, but enough that it's going to be considerably difficult for them to take the position. Nico is closing as well. And a considerable rate of knots considering they've both got DRS down the straight. Down to 4/10, as is Malkian. But round that corner, not managing to keep hold of it, dropping to 8/10 within the space of 2 corners. So Crucix now 10 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. Jumps into the pit lane, but gets a 5-second penalty for their woes. That's going to be costly. So Davis now leading the pack. 12 laps on the mediums here. Where does Crucix come out? They're out of their box. Nico pulls into the pit and retires. Bringing Spearwhip up to 16th. So still to stop Davis and Rivershan, Malkian, Sky Kartoffel. We think F1 Racers probably got another stop that they need to do. Big battle going on for P6 right now. Kev Genetics getting the DRS, also looking to go up the inside of Malkian, manages to take the position and is just going to sail away. DRS wide open. Oh, Malkian has it too. Malkian must have been just within range of Crucix there. Crucix sets their best Sector 2 of the run so far. F1 Racer taking advantage of Rivershan's wide run there, and those mediums look like they're not gripping on for too much longer. But I do still think F1 Racer still needs to make another stop here. Rivershan staying within touching distance, but Maestro Hoffi is coming up behind them at a considerable pace of knots. Just 3/10 down to 2, and of course back straight there's a good 5/10 to find there. Of course Rivershan gonna have DRS here as well. So F1 Racer very much the target as Maestro Hoffi goes up the inside. Rivershan tries to take the place back, tries to get their nose in, no luck, and that's Malkian moving down the order as both Red Bulls pass them down the home stretch, down the back straight. Our mate and Matty, teammates and rivals in the championship here. And it looks like they're settling into a rhythm now. Let's go back up to Maestro Hoffi. As Davis pulls into the pits. It looks like... well, Matty set the fastest lap of the race so far. 1:35.1, so they've got pace here. Have they got enough pace to catch up to Kev Genetics, though? That is the question. As Lucas Eduardo, DNFs. Are they in the wall? That is... nope. Their car is still going. They must have retired in the pit lane. And their car's decided to come out. Up towards the front. Hoffi chasing down F1 Racer. Busix right on their tail, but obviously with that 3-second time penalty to make up for as well. 3/10 the gap as they come. We're over the halfway mark here in Texas. F1 Racer burning their ERS to stay ahead into the hairpin here. Hoffi with the 3-lap younger tyres. Sorry, Krusix with a 5-second time penalty, I should say. If they're gonna... which will either be added on to their next pit stop or at the end of the race. Whichever comes first. Mr. Hoffi actually pulling away here. Out of the hairpin. Deciding to close the DRS early by the look of it. Busix though, crucially, it's put them in the equation. Kev Genetics more than a full second back, and then it's 2 seconds back to Matty, so the field is quite spread out at this point. Vivashan nestled between two bulls right now. Arme right behind them. They come across the timing line for what will be the 16th time here. Malkian pulling into the pits. That is going to be their first stop. Davis sets the fastest lap of the race so far on a brand new set of softs. Up the inside. Ooh. Right between the two Alfa Romeos there. Sky Kartoffel out in front, but still to stop. 16-lap old mediums there. Davis on fresh soft, and then Persagili on the hard tyre. Sky Kartoffel taking a little bit of curb there. That's going to bite. Rivershan also still to stop. Again, 16-lap old mediums. DRS wide open through that back straight. It's enough to keep them in contention right now. Persagili and Sky Kartoffel battling for position. Persagili coming off the better there. Again, that back straight is so powerful. 5/10. theoretically is what you gain with DRS Open. Seen it as much as 7 in some cases. Towards the front, Crew 6 sitting pretty in third right now. Then Maestro Hoffi up the front. Davis makes the pass on Rivershan. Apologies, Rivershan is into the pits, taking their mandatory pit stop, I assume, onto the softs here with 11 laps to go. Have a look, shall we? Sky Kartoffel on 17-lap-old mediums. Bear Whitford HD Storm coming in. HD Storm picking up a 5-second penalty for their troubles. HD Storm retiring from the session as a result, unfortunately. Only 15 runners left. And Gelbevand side by side with Sky Kartoffel down the back straight. Moves into the points, P10. But of course, that penalty's going to really hurt them. Failer had trouble there. I don't quite know what happened with Jan Failer, but they were just stopped on track. Looks like they may have spun out and waited to recover. So, if things stay as they are, F1 Racer is going to be on 17-lap-old 18-lap-old mediums by the end of the race. It's doable. We've seen it done, but the drop in performance is noticeable. Now, of course, they've got Crew 6 right behind them. Can they keep within 5 seconds of Crew 6 to take second place? Down the back straight here. Easy pickings for Crew 6. Moves into second. Now just needs to concentrate on getting that 5-second gap. Field's quite spread out at the moment. Closest battle is up front between F1 Racer and Crew 6. But Kev Genetics is starting to close in. Kev Genetics actually making up 5/10 that last lap. So they keep up this pace, will be within striking distance of F1 Racer in a couple of laps or so. And there's Crew 6, who is pulling... isn't pulling away, sorry. But is gaining time on Maestro Hoffi up towards the front. Rivershan sets the fastest lap of the race so far. Pulling... Wow. Taking Failer out of the points. If this stays as it is, this will be the first time Jan Failer has not scored in a race this season. Let's go towards Matty, who is right on the tail of Kev Genetics now. After that considerable DRS boost. The question is, Kev Genetics has been burning their battery. Try and stay ahead here by the look of it, and to try and catch up to F1 Racer. Maybe that's why they're keeping 2 seconds back, because they just don't have the battery. They haven't been regenning. Matty now within 3/10 of what is essentially third place here. Cruisix still has 5 seconds of time penalties to serve, as Rivershan sets the fastest lap and is making considerable gains on Gelbevand. About 5/10 a lap. Matty picking up another time penalty, and that's gonna hurt after the fact. In fact, it may well mean that they drop down the order, even though there's a huge gap from them back to our mate. Oh, and Matty has made the pass on Kev Genetics. Just at the end of that back straight there. Dominic up to 14th. There is actually a fight for 14th going on right now. They just don't know it. Dominic needs to make sure they stay 3 seconds ahead of Spearwidth. Otherwise they'll drop down to 15th in the order. Up towards the front. Kev Genetics trying to stay in touch with Matty here. We've got no one to worry about behind them. Next car back is a full almost a full 7 seconds behind. Davis, by the way, gaining considerable time on our mate. A full second per lap. So it could be tight for 6th towards the end of the race here. Kev Genetics. Oh, and it is very, very tight indeed in terms of tyres for F1 Racer. Don't know if you can see this on stream, but there is certainly some knurling on those tyres. Can they make it to the end of the race? 6 laps to go after this one, and I think there's only about 3 or 4 laps left in them before we're starting to risk a puncture here. Molkian starting to make time on Failer. On the much softer tyre. And also 10 laps younger. So especially around this technical section where grip is all important, they're going to be making up that time. And within striking distance on the next time round. Speaking of striking distance, let's head towards the front where Cruisix is well within striking distance on this next back straight of our race leader, Maestro Hoffi. Six tenths. DRS open. Both about the same tyre age. Cruisix's tyres 1 lap the younger. Further back, Kev Genetics holding on to 5th. Staying in tow with Matty. Molkian now coming down the back straight. This is for, well, I'd say P11. But the thing is, Molkian has it in the bag with that 3-second penalty there. Now it's a case of, can they catch Rivershan? Elsewhere on track, Gelbevand starting to make some gains on Persegili here. Not huge ones, but gains nonetheless. Up towards the front. Crew 6 is going to take another attempt at it down this back straight. F1 Racer really cutting it tight on the tyres now. They are going to be going. Crew 6. Looking up the inside. Nothing there. Taking the early brake. Just staying in tow. Making sure they're within touching distance of F1 of Maestro Hoffi and well out of range of F1 Racer. Further back, Rivershan making a move on Gelbavand here, up the inside, and smooth. Baylor, unfortunately, not able to regain their position on Molkian just yet. Molkian actually dropping back from Gelbavand. Up towards the front. Crew 6 now just 2/10 from the lead on track. F1 Racer in dangerous territory. 3 seconds back. Let's stick with our front runners for now. This is for the glory on track. Unfortunately, not for the points. Unless Crew 6 can pull 5 seconds out of somewhere in the last few laps of the race. There's the rear wing opening. And that gap is closing considerably. Pulling to the side to try and take the position. And the inside. As they go into turn 9. Maestro Hoffi now playing catch-up. But when we heard from them a while ago, they said they prefer to have someone in front of them. Someone to race against, rather than constantly looking over their shoulder. Davis down in 7th at the moment. Looking to make the strike on our mate here for 6th. Here we go. Rear wing is wide open down here. This is going to help them keep in touching distance. Further back, Rivershan and Gelbavand on Persegili. Both of them with time penalties though. Baylor fighting for 11th with Molkian. Of course, has to get 3 seconds clear here. Okay, coming into the back stretch for the third from final time. 5/10 the difference for Maestro Hoffi. 4 seconds clear of F1 Racer, but Matty is closing at a considerable rate here. Those mediums are not happy. They are not happy at all. They've probably got about 1 or 2 laps left in them before we see a potential for puncture here. Further down, Davis staying tight with our mate. Molkian managing to keep Baylor at bay for now. So the packs begin to form. with 2 laps to go. And F1 Racer is in dangerous territory right now. I'm afraid we're going to cut away from our front runners at this moment in time, because it looks like Matty is going to try and take the position for 3rd. Maestro Hoffi not making the pass. Matty very easily, very cleanly gliding around the outside and tucking it in before going into the 90-degree turn. Our mate making the pass on Kev Genetics. Davis not far behind, so there is a 3-way battle for 5th right now. Davis managing to get the advantage on Kev Genetics there. Kev Genetics and Arme on 15-lap-old tyres. F1 Racer. Ooh, it's tight. It's tight. Matty has the position. Can F1 Racer just hold on? Now, I know there's a 6-second time penalty, but here's the thing. F1 Racer is now into puncture territory. So this could get ugly really fast. So let's follow our drivers down the back straight. Maestro Hoffi staying in tow. F1 Racer. Oh, Maestro Hoffi opting for the outside there. It gives him the... Oh! Little bit of a squeeze there from Crew 6. Cheeky. Matty keeping the lead on F1 Racer. F1 Racer, though. Oh! Let's have a look at Davis. Davis going up the outside. Oh, and Armate cutting them off there. Closing the door. Drivers getting very aggressive on the last lap here. We can see Jan Fehler has made the pass on Molkian. As Crew 6 takes 2nd, Matty takes 3rd. 4th, sorry. F1 Racer takes 3rd. Dangerously close on those tyres. Armate coming across the line in 5th with Davis right up their backside on 6th. Persegili, Rivershan, Gelbavand, Kev Genetics with 10 seconds of time penalties for exceeding track limits. That's quite the penalty, and it pushes them out of the points. Molkian takes 10th. That may be something that goes to the stewards. 10 seconds of time penalties. Guy Kartoffel taking 13th, Dominic in 14th, and finally favourite with some of the crowd tonight, Spearwhip, finishing the race. Just as the rain is starting to come down. That is phenomenal. So, let's make sure everything is ready. So there's your final results. Maestro Hoffi takes the win. Crew 6 in 2nd, F1 Racer in 3rd, Matty dropping down to 4th after their penalty. Then it's Armate, Davis by a slim margin. Alfa Romeos, Persegili in 7th, Rivershan in 8th, Gelbavan in 9th, and Molkian up to 10th. Here is your race director, because I have a feeling there might be some stewards' inquiries. Just this vague feeling. I'm intrigued to see what happened with Kev Genetics there with that 10-second time penalty right at the end. That's odd. So our drivers leaving the lobby. What a race. And I don't think it's over just yet. I'm fairly sure that there will be some words with the stewards after this. So while we're tabulating the results there, quite the race out on track. No safety cars. We had a virtual, but no full-blown safety cars. I think some of our drivers were potentially hoping for that, especially F1 Racer, who... Oh! Spearwhip taking the fastest lap of the race, but unfortunately not taking the points there. That honour going to Rivershan in the Mercedes. So, let's see if we can get some of our drivers in here for a bit of an interview. Whilst I very quickly sort this out. Let's speak to our victor tonight, Maestro Hoffi. Oh my goodness. What a race. How was it out there tonight?
So satisfying, man. I mean, going into the week, I thought that this might be one of my worst races because I've always struggled with this track. I really don't like it. But then when I practiced, I noticed that I didn't have the pace to begin with. But then I changed the setup a bit around, and then it was like magic. I don't know. I found like 4 tenths per lap, and yeah, it was just smooth. I mean, for the most part in the season, the problem was for myself that I was just too inconsistent. I could hold up with the leaders and also show that I have great pace, but then I just make dumb mistakes or spin or get a warning. But yeah, just a clean drive throughout.
Yep, very clean driving out there, and wow, it's certainly shaken up the standings for you. And in fact, just double checking something here. Is that your first win? I think that's your first win this season, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Of course, we heard just before tonight's race, your second place was taken away from you at Melbourne, but tonight ends on a high for you. First place. Now, what was going through your head in those closing stages there with Crew 6?
Basically just keep it clean. I knew that he had his 5-second time penalty for his speeding in the pit lane, and of course when you're racing you kind of have this mentality to overtake the person in front on track, but yeah, just not needing any unnecessary risk or taking any unnecessary risks. And of course in the last lap I tried to overtake him, but yeah, he just closed the door, and I thought, yeah, you won't lose these 5 seconds on him. And yeah, just very calm, surprisingly.
Just kind of taking it easy, knowing full well that as long as I stay within 5 seconds, I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll be honest. There were a couple of shocks tonight, especially with how far Failer finished down the order, and some of our contenders for the top of the championship. Lucas ended up pulling out of the race, which has put you back in contention with them. Also, this win puts you in 4th place in the standings, ahead of Kev Genetics. So with 3 races to go, we've got Zandvoort, Montreal, and of course Interlagos to finish. What's the game plan? What are you kind of looking at for the next 3 races?
Not much, to be honest. I've already given up a bit on the championship. Of course, there's like a theoretical chance I can make some places, but yeah, just too late for the season. And then after I couldn't match my goal for maybe winning the championship, or at least fighting for the championship, I just thought I want to get 1 race win here, which I managed to do here today. And yeah, just going into the last 3 races a bit calmer, a bit yeah, more composed, I guess. I mean, I like in contrast to Coda, I really like all these 3 tracks. So yeah, just wanting to have a good time, and maybe I can get some more wins on the board.
Well, let's talk wins. Let's talk top of the board. Let's talk teammates as well. Yourself and Galaxy in the Haas. Now top of the team standings, pulling ahead of McLaren tonight. Is the focus for you kind of more? Where is the focus in terms of driver standings to team standings? Kind of what? I know you said that the drivers' championship is probably out of reach, but there is still the teams' championship.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what is maybe realistic, I would say, is maybe to fight for the top 3 in the standings, so driver standings, and then, of course, individual championship or driver championship is more important. But yeah, if we could get the team championship now for ourselves, I think that would be a great ending to the season. So of course I would still say the focus is more on the drivers championship, but yeah, team championship would be like, I don't know how if you say that in English, but in German we say the golden pineapple.
I think we call it the cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah, it goes in the same direction. But yeah, just would be nice to have.
I now have images of someone just putting a pineapple on top of a cake, and that is an image that I'm going to leave our audience with as well. Any kind of, I believe we're going straight into Zandvoort next week. So, any kind of closing remarks before we let you get on with, well, I guess practicing for Zandvoort.
Actually not, because I'm not at home the entire week.
Oh.
So I just arrive at home Friday afternoon. So then I really have to put the hours into the game. But you know, I feel quite confident now, of course, with the win in the bag, and then of course I like Zandvoort as well. And yeah, of course I don't have that much of time, but yeah, just looking forward to the race.
So looking to carry the momentum from this week forward for the next 3 weeks, hopefully challenging for 3rd in the overall driver standings. Our race winner tonight, everybody, Maestro Hoffi, who has been honestly amazing all season. It's been brilliant to watch you drive, brilliant to watch you battle, and look forward to seeing you again in the Netherlands.
Yeah, thank you very much for the kind words, and yeah, bye-bye, and hopefully we have a good race in Zandvoort as well. Hopefully
it's Zandvoort is a track, especially with those banking corners. So I'm keen for that one when we come to it. Also, like, the next 3 tracks are going to be very action orientated. we've got Zandvoort, Canada, and Interlagos, and Interlagos just flew so well. Right, I'm going to leave you to it. Thank you for coming in and talking to us today, Maestro Hoffi. And before I let you, the viewers, go, let's have a look at what that race has done to our standings.
Then I say bye-bye.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Have a good one, mate.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
So, after that race, Jan Fehler stays right where they are on 138 points. F1 Racer regains second position. F1 Racer regains second position over Lucas after Lucas didn't finish tonight's race and retired. Maestro Hoffi, 101 points, the fourth driver to break the century. And of course, that golden one next to their name, their first win of the season. And this is what I mean by consistency. We've had people with wins, but they're further down the order. Look at Persegili, look at Nico. Then we have Kev Genetics, who unfortunately finished outside the points tonight. Matty gaining considerable ground on them, taking home 12 points. Persegili finishing in 7th, takes 6 home for Alfa Romeo. Krusix, our second place finisher, 18 points for them. Puts them ahead of Galaxy and also within touching distance of Persegili. Galaxy, though, unfortunately crashing out very early on in the race. And it looked like there was certainly contact there, so we may see a stewards inquiry as a result. Our mate, currently in P10, finished 5th tonight, 10 points, good drive. That puts them ahead of Nico, who failed to finish. Let's move further down the standings to Gelbevand, who a lot of you were cheering on tonight. Finished in 9th, took home 2 points for the Aston Martin team. Then Rivershan P8, but also Key Point took home fastest lap as well, giving them 5. Then Molkian rounds off our top 10, finishing ahead of Fehler after penalties were applied. Davis, new to the board, finishes with 8 points to their name. And that rounds up kind of everything tonight. Spearwidth, by the way, that purple one next to their name, fastest lap of the session. So they got something tonight, everybody. Spearwidth got something. Unfortunately, it wasn't points, but they finished. They've got something for countback. In fact, they are the highest driver that we have on countback right now, and they've got that fastest lap to their name as well. Let's have a look at what that does to the constructor standings, and I think we've already kind of spoiled the surprise here. But from top to bottom, Alpine scoring no points tonight as Davis is a reserve driver. None of the Williams making the top 10 either. Alfa Romeo, Persegili putting in a good performance for them, putting them clear of Williams. And then Aston Martin faring quite well out of tonight's performance. 99 points, just shy of the century, puts them 10 points behind Mercedes. Krusix and Gelbevand both finishing in the points for them. Mercedes, Rivershan managing to take home points for Mercedes, but not enough to keep that gap. Ferrari, F1 Racer playing a dangerous game with their tyres. managing to get them into third tonight, but it's not enough to keep them ahead of Red Bull, who, by the way, are tied for points with AlphaTauri, the younger Red Bulls. The only reason AlphaTauri are ahead right now are because of the race wins that they have to their name. They are there on countback. And then, the big headline tonight. No score for McLaren, and Haas finishing first. Haas taking the win tonight puts them at the top, 157 points, 13 points clear of the McLaren team. And that's pretty much everything from me tonight. I hope you have... Oh, Kev Genetics ran out of fuel. Okay. Didn't want to point that out, but that's happened. We will be back next week when we jet off to the Netherlands for Zandvoort. Yes, it's the circuit that makes NASCAR blush with the amount of banking that it has. So make sure you tune in for that. I'd like to say a thank you to our drivers tonight, to all of our organisers who made this possible, to everybody out there for putting on a show, to you lot for watching, and of course to our sponsors who make this possible, who give us the ability to run this week in, week out, to SimSok, who are the only brand that I know of that make sim racing socks. Padded feet, moisture wicking material that helps your feet breathe whilst you're in those intense moments, whilst you're driving on those pedals. And then Driver 61 Driver Academy. They not only are a good source of information for us, but also they do driver training, not just kind of in F1, but also other racing simulators as well. And I think, don't quote me on this, but I think they've also done a few real life sessions as well, as in IRL on track. They've certainly done some track profiles on their website. Go check them out. Driver 61. All that's left for me to say is, wow, what a race. We'll see you next time. That's all from us here tonight at Apex Online Racing. See you soon, and drive safe.